Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Stirring It Out with Tiara Monique, Kitchen Table Talk. Today's segment of political news, Trump's insurrection.
Evacuated already, but there were members in the upstairs gallery part of the chamber, and those members were particularly scared about what would happen.
I saw the Capitol Police locking the doors and starting to stack furniture and barricade us in the chamber. And it was at that point that I realized that we were trapped and that we were going to try to protect ourselves within the chamber.
We had a shelter-in-place order. They told us to use the gas masks that are under the seats.
Being asked to put on masks, checking the door to make sure it's locked.
They broke the glass?
I heard the sound of breaking glass and gunshots ring out. And then the rioters actually start trying to ram the doors down.
I thought I really should call the kids, and I was on with them, telling them what was going on and that we were waiting to get out, that I was okay. At one point, my son said, "What do you mean you're okay? I can hear gunshots."
I was frightened that it would be a mass casualty incident, that if they had automatic weapons, they could have killed hundreds of members of Congress.
I was preparing myself to make a stand and to potentially have to fight our way out.
My heart was pounding out of my chest. I was really getting very, very upset. And at that point, Jason Crow reached out and took my hand,
She said she was
saying,
getting upset.
"You're going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay."
More stressed out.
He was like the perfect person to be in the foxhole with. He's a former Army Ranger.
Now they see how black people feel every day.
Outside the House floor nearby, lawmakers were hunkered down, hiding.
Within about 10 or 15 minutes, the room that I was in, I started hearing a lot of stomping and chanting right outside. And I realized that they were literally right outside my door. And so I was really frightened. I moved a lot of furniture that I was physically able to and tried to barricade the door.
Across the Capitol, protesters were entering offices.
People climbing the walls, breaking windows, breaking into doors in the parliamentarian's office.
This is a breach of national security because the Senate parliamentarian's office is a critical office. That is what ensures the Senate can function, where all the papers are kept.
A video posted online shows rioters looking for the House Speaker.
Nancy Pelosi's office is one of the most heavily guarded offices on Capitol Hill. You cannot just walk into Nancy Pelosi's office, but that's exactly what some of these demonstrators did. There is a photo of one rioter sitting there with his feet up.
I sat down here at my desk. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a patriot. That is her desk. We loaned her that desk, and she ain't appreciating the desk, so I thought I'd sit down and appreciate the desk.
There you go. There you go, brother.
The rioters even took away the nameplate that is on top of her suite.
Lots of other pictures of these rioters sitting at desks they should never be sitting at on the House floor, on the Senate floor.
This is something that is not done. You don't walk in to the Senate floor, and that is a place where the senators gather, where their aides gather. But these rioters had gotten into the Senate chamber, and in a stunning image, we're sitting where the presiding officer sits, where Mike Pence, as the president of the Senate, sits while presiding over the chamber.
While chaos reigned, authorities made sure those members in the House gallery got out safely.
While we were all crouched down in those final minutes, Jason Crow told us all to take our pins off so that when we got out to the hallway, if there were perpetrators there, they wouldn't know we were members of Congress. This identifies me as a member of the 117th Congress.
When we went out through that door, there was a line of SWAT officers with their guns drawn that were holding back protesters. They took us through the underground tunnels to Longworth, and then had kind of fortified Longworth with police and additional security. The speaker came in at one point and gave some short remarks just to reinforce our resolve, and most importantly, make a commitment that we were going to return that night.
As both House members and senators stayed locked down in the Capitol, fearing for their lives and vowing to return to finish verifying the votes, the president and his personal lawyer were trying to stop that from happening.
President Trump and his lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, both tried reaching out to newly elected Senator Tommy Tuberville to try to convince him to delay the certification in some way. This was all as this violence was taking place. The concern was not about whether Tuberville was safe.
I'm calling you because I want to discuss with you how they're trying to rush this hearing and how we need you, our Republican friends, to try to just slow it down so we can get these legislatures to get more information to you.
In Giuliani's case, he left a voicemail on the wrong person's phone. In the president's case, he called Senator Mike Lee thinking that he was calling Tommy Tuberville.
Inside sources tell CNN that during that deadly insurrection, the president was, quote, borderline enthusiastic about the attempted coup.
His initial reaction was not horror, which was almost everybody else's reaction. His initial reaction was to watch the show.
I call on President Trump to go on national television now to fulfill his oath and defend the Constitution and demand an end to this siege.
I know your pain. I know you're hurt. We had an election that was stolen from us, but you have to go home now. We love you. You're very special. I know how you feel, but go home and go home in peace.
When you're telling your violent supporters that you love them, what kind of message does that send? I mean, it sends a message of approval.
We learned later in the afternoon that the mayor of D.C. had imposed a curfew starting at 6 p.m. So I thought, okay, at least we know that at 6 p.m. the cavalry is probably going to show up and get all of these rioters out of here. And sure enough, as dusk started falling, we did see a huge number of Washington, D.C. police show up, National Guard showed up, and then we saw also a contingent of FBI.
You were up there?
Yes. I was up on the left side at the very top before they threw out a flashbang and started spraying tear gas.
Why did you decide to come here today?
To represent my country. To fight for what I believe in and what I know to be true.
Which is?
Which is that Trump won, and that there are people in high places trying to take advantage of everybody in lower places.
Their beliefs, their uprising, came with a heavy price.
At one point, you see an officer trapped in the door as he's penned in, screaming for help. That's one of the many officers that were injured on that day. We know, of course, another Capitol Police officer would later die from injuries.
Dozens of officers were injured in mob violence like this. Sticks and poles, even American flags raining down on police who were trying to keep the rioters from entering the Capitol.
All right, everyone, that wraps it up for another edition of Stirring It Up with me, Tara Monique. Now, let me tell you what I feel about this situation. Just imagine you're at work. Your coworker gets fired. Your coworker leaves, calls up a gang of his friends, and they all come to beat you guys up or whatever. How would that make you feel? Food for thought. Anyway, leave us your opinion, and if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe to become a friend. So until next time, and there will be a next time, bye.